In this video, I'm going to show you guys whether or not running with no air filter and no air filter cage makes any more power than running with an air filter and with an air filter cage. So follow along as we check out whether or not you get any improvement from no air filter and no air filter cage. So before we show you the results from the dyno test, I want to get your thoughts. How much power do you think it made? Did it make power? Did it change the curve? Are we going to see improvements? How much improvement? Go ahead and give me a comment. Tell me what you think. Maybe share some experiences you've had with some of the kits out there. Good boy. All right, we finished up that run. Green line is one of those runs. Red line is another one of those runs. Which one do you think it is? Which one do you guys think is air filter on and no air filter? Well, if you guessed that the green line was no air filter, no cage, you would be correct. That is no air filter, no cage in green, and that is air filter and cage in red. Now, something to note is that this changes the mapping a little bit. So some of this power has to do with mapping more than it has to do with airflow, but that's neither here nor there. The question being, if you improve the airflow into your motorcycle, will you pick up some power? And in this particular case, the answer is yes, you picked up a little bit of power. So how much? Well, pretty darn good. Right there at 9,600 is 1 horsepower. Man, you just bolted on 1 horsepower. This day and age, that's hard to do. You guys, I don't want to, go out and bash anybody, but there's probably more power right here than there is with the pipe. So right here at peak, we also picked up not quite a horsepower, picked up 0.7 of a horsepower, but the bike's dang near 38 horsepower now. And then it mirrored itself up way up top. Now, usually, good airflow improvements find power all the way up top. That's actually where you generally are going to see airflow make the biggest gains. And that's why I brought up mapping. Because when you increase the amount of air that's capable of getting into the engine, you're going to not be getting an increase in fuel. The fuel injection is not that smart. Unfortunately, it's just a lookup table. So this has leaned out the bike a little bit, and as a byproduct of it, in addition to the airflow, we've picked up some power and some performance. On the track, this is going to be very noticeable. You are going to notice, because this is really where you ride. You're going to ride through here and up over the top. This is very noticeable, so that's a good improvement. So the next test we're going to do is we're going to take the air filter off the cage, and we're going to just run it with the cage. So the question is it the air filter, or is it the cage? Or is it both? Well, we're going to find out here in just a second. Fellas, as you can see, we've got no air filter but the cage installed. So we're going to move forward with this test and see if there's any difference between having the air filter on or the air filter off and just the cage. This will kind of tell us if it's the cage or if it's the air filter. Fellas, the verdict is in. Let's see what the data says. We're going to look at what no air filter but yes with the screen on the filter cage looks like versus absolutely no filter, no cage. All right, so the green line is no air filter but air filter cage and screen installed, and the red line in this particular chart is no air filter, no cage, no screen at all. As you can see, they're very similar. They did both gain versus standard. Down here, we'll pull that up. Up top, there wasn't quite as much power with the air filter cage installed with a screen, but with no filter, as there was with absolutely nothing. But way up top, we actually picked up, and this was on every single run, so all of the data looked like this. So right here, a little bit of restriction was better than absolutely no restriction. Now, is the reality that restriction is good? No. The reality is it's going to come down to mapping. In a future video, follow along, and we're going to show you that with some Git ECU tuning, and we'll get more in depth about air-fuel ratios and what they can do, as well as tuning on the high end and in areas like this. So clearly this bike is mapped very closely for the stock setup. Anytime you get way outside that range, okay, or I should say even change it a little bit, the mapping becomes less than ideal. And so what happened here was with the air filter screen or cage and screen installed, it really liked that in the mapping department here, but it didn't like absolutely no restriction here, which means that it was getting a little bit lean like that. And then with the air filter and cage installed, it kind of mimics right here. And so what we're going to have to isolate is if that's a mapping thing or if this picked up because of air or mapping. So we're going to take a look at that later. Anyways, if you got one of these bikes and you're trying to find some power, I hope this info is helpful to you. I hope that you liked it. I hope that helps you make a decision on what you go with and what you purchase. And if you're trying to find power very easily and quickly with your bike, hopefully this helps you in that direction. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, do all that stuff that we need. We're going to keep putting out content, and I got a lot more coming your way. Thanks.